Hi, I'm former bar grader Jay Bijlani, the guy from Esquired bar exam prep. Today I will show you how to write like a lawyer or perform a legal analysis in a manner that is sure to impress a bar grader. By the way, if you would like to see more on how to improve your game, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the Esquired channel. As I've said in my previous video, law application, working with the facts of a case, includes the skill of analysis. I explained that a solid analysis is critical for passing the bar exam. To the bar grader, analysis does not mean listing facts. It means weaving elements of the rule with the specific facts. In your answer, you will need to weave in most of the facts that are presented in the hypos. However, a truly remarkable answer will also make inferences to unspoken circumstantial facts that are relevant to the applicable law. After all, isn't that what it means to be a remarkable lawyer? For our killer analysis, we first need a set of facts to work with. Now, let's make this light and whimsical to better digest an often difficult skill to master. After all, isn't preparing for the bar exam dry as it is? So let's have a little fun with our active learning. Here we go. This is the story of a dog named Goldilocks. Once upon a time, Goldilocks ran through the forest and happened upon a cottage in the deep dark wood. He peered through an open window and saw 3 hounds preparing porridge for dinner on a potbelly stove. He then saw them sit at a dining table to enjoy their meal. The hounds then got up, put the leftovers away in the fridge, and left the cottage to go clubbing. Goldilocks, being the naughty German Shepherd mix he is, hopped through the window, opened the fridge with his paws, and ran out the cottage with the pot of porridge, which promised to be tastier than any kibble he had ever had. He also took with him a 65-inch TV. Soon after leaving the cottage, he was apprehended by Karen the cop and was charged. May Goldilocks properly be convicted of burglary. Now we need the other component of analysis, the law. Let's dig into our law knowledge and work with the common law requirements. To prove a defendant committed a burglary, the prosecutor must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that defendant committed a breaking and entering into a dwelling house of another at night with the specific intent to steal or specific intent to commit a felony therein. Do the facts trigger for us any rule elaborations that would be helpful to answer the question? I can think of at least one. As to breaking and entering, proof of any physical effort is sufficient. Now we get to the analysis. Remember, we are weaving the law with as many facts available to us, both spoken and circumstantial, to prove each element. First, Goldilocks committed a breaking and entering when he quietly hopped through the window, which required simple physical effort to traverse on the part of a German Shepherd mix. Second, Goldilocks did so breaking and entering into a dwelling house of another because the little cottage in the deep dark wood was the humble abode of the 3 hounds, and it was where they had a potbelly stove on which to cook, and a fridge in which to store leftovers in a kitchen. It had a dining area furnished with a dining table, and it was where the hounds owned a 65-inch TV for their homely leisure. Third, Goldilocks struck at night, as he did so quietly after the hounds ate their porridge for dinner, which is the nighttime meal, and while they were out clubbing, which is a late night activity. Finally, Goldilocks committed this act with the specific intent to steal, as he wanted to enjoy the homemade porridge for himself, which promised to be tastier than any of the kibble that he was fed, and he decidedly carried away that fancy 65-inch TV that he had no intention of ever returning to the 3 hounds. Alternatively, depending on the jurisdiction, even at common law, he may not have had the specific intent to commit a felony therein, because he did not want to aggravate the situation by stealing the hounds' belongings while they were still in the house, or stealing something of extremely high value, which most 65-inch TVs are not. However, Goldilocks did have the specific intent to steal, and as such, the intent element is satisfied. Therefore, there's no reasonable doubt that Goldilocks would be properly convicted of burglary at common law. Sure, your hypos on the bar exam will have more meat on their bone and feel a bit more serious, but you see how the rich detail and reasonable inferences are what would make this a stellar answer? Now, when you were thinking through your analysis, did you do two things? Did you capture each specific fact to create a rich, compelling story for the grader? Did you also subtly highlight your nuanced understanding of each element? You might say, I would have had I been at the bar exam and I knew I had to, but when you have that rush of adrenaline and cortisol in your veins, it will often cloud your higher skills of problem solving and make it less likely that you would show up as your best self. Also consider in this way when the facts involve layers of rules with which you are less confident and where the answer is not so cut and dry, requiring counter-arguments. As soon as I work with each of my students, I teach them an effective method that showcases their understanding of any bar-testable rule and analytical skills. I teach the actual mechanics of proper analysis so that they can replicate the same game-changing formula regardless of the subject matter or the question. This pays dividends, as it is a skill necessary for success not only on the bar exam, but also in the practice of law. May you pass the bar and be unleashed to the public. Again, please like this video and subscribe for more tips on bar success.